Hi everyone, this is an after installation report that I wanted to do for some time, and that's gonna gather some of the experience that I've had with my first installation. You probably watched my previous video where I installed it on my Tanaka M40A1, and this is gonna be a summary of all the related information that I've gathered along the way. First off, a lot of people ask when to use an R-hop. An R-hop can be used pretty much on every airsoft gun. If it fits, I would actually advise you to use it. If you live in a country like mine, where commercial hops usually are out of stock, or you have to wait like 3 months to get a 9-bull purple, which is renowned to be one of the best hops, commercial hops available, you probably want to have an R-hop coming your way in like even a week or so. So that's why I ordered an R-hop in the first place, because no commercial hops backings of any kind were available at the time, and I got tired of waiting. So I read of its superior performance, so I said, why not ordering one of those? In the end, it's gonna be really cheaper than a regular hop that goes for like 18 bucks here, or 20 bucks, because for 18 bucks or something more you get the easy kit of IER hops, and those are pretty much more than twice the size of a regular R hop. So you get, even if you're gonna fit just one of the three rubbers of the 3 R hops, as you can see, one of the three is cut in something like a little more than half. So if my Tanaka M41 R hop breaks for some reason, I can still use this. I'll have to cut a little bit off it, and if I'm lucky enough that I get another gun that fits a different kind of R-hop, I have 2 for those if I don't want to fit an ER hop. So even if my SR15, the GMP WOC, fits this one, I can still use it. It's probably, the other one on the Tanaka is probably gonna last forever, so who cares? So this is pretty much the best deal you can get. It's cheaper, it requires minimum do-it-yourself skills. I'll tell you what you need to do, and you get a lot better performance. What you get once you get used to the R-hop, you probably never want to go back to a regular hop, because it's way unpredictable compared to how this performs. So second question is, a lot of people say, especially in my country, Italy, which is like Japan, where you have a 1 joule maximum energy emission from your weapon, from your rifle. A lot of people ask me, this is just for high powered guns, which we cannot use in our country. We can only have a 1 joule max. This is pretty much useless, and this is complete BS. Because this is Hunter Seeker's take on the Ishioka's G-hop, which is a Japanese guy who actually invented a different kind of hop-up. And guess what? In Japan they have a 1 joule maximum energy, so he was trying to get more range out of the same energy emission. So this works for high power guns, but it works especially well when you don't have the chance to increase your FPS due to field or state regulations. So it's pretty much gonna work every time, because consistency is consistency. It doesn't matter what FPS you're getting. If it's gonna be more accurate, it's more accurate. That's bottom line. I've reached a state where my Tanaka is at the optimal settings, and you get it by feeling the satisfaction of shooting and seeing that you actually go on target every time at distances that are over 270 feet. So I'm not gonna open it, but I'm gonna tell you that the hop-up is probably the more drastical upgrade you're ever gonna get on your weapon. So my advice would be to go, if you have a project gun that you want to upgrade, I'd say go for the entire range of upgrades, inner barrel, everything else, and then test it with no hop-up. test it with no hop up first so that you know how your platform performs, then install an R-hop, or test it with the regular hop first, get a baseline for your accuracy with the regular hop, and then install the R-hop. This is very important. In games, if you have a high power setup and you just go plinking on cans or stuff or target shooting at more than 150 yards, you're gonna go way high on FPS, and this is gonna help anyway. But you might not want to use hop-up. You may even want to use asymmetrical projectiles, who knows. But in games where you have any kind of field limitation up to a limit of like 550 or something like this, the hop-up is the most critical piece in your entire airsoft gun. I'd say it's the one thing that might screw an entirely perfect platform, which would otherwise perform flawlessly. So make sure you have a great hop-up, and this is why I think the R-hop is personally my best. Get an easy kit so you have the best fit, it's easier to do, and what you have to do is cut to leave some space on the window, then make sure it's flush with the external, then take your regular hop backing, twist it upside down, just enough to get the mold. If you have a pen, this is gonna be easier, but it's fairly easy to get it done. It's like a minute thing. As you can see now, I managed to just turn it upside down to get the mold off with some sandpaper. Then what some people do, since the part where you remove the mold is probably not gonna be exactly plain and smooth, and the bottom isn't either, because it has some kind of line in it, the best part would be either the left side of the right or the right side of the hop-up, because they're really smooth and clean. But this alignment ridge is keeping you off from using either side, because it has to fit in a specific way into the hop chamber. So what some people do, and what I've done as well, I took X-Acto knife and cut this alignment ridge off. This allows me to fit the backing anywhere in any kind of rotation I like, and it will allow me to rotate the barrel should I need to slightly adjust some very minor bending, which actually didn't occur in my latest installation, so I didn't have to turn it. But that will fix minor bending in BBs if you get constant left or constant right. And you should get, for minor I intend anything over 2750 that goes like a mil dot at like if 4 times magnification, something like that, that would be minor. If you're getting more than that, you probably did something wrong, or you're using wrong BBs, or your barrel is bent, or whatever. So that's not minor. Then when you have everything fit in, you take a BB and push it by hand with a small rod, and it has to go inside the barrel to the very end with minimal pressure. That's very important. If that happens, you then probably want to go start test shooting, and you'll see that the BBs fly overhopping all over the place. They're very constant going uphill, but they're very much overhopping. So what you do is you disassemble everything else and you flush the internal of these. Now to do this, handling is incredibly important, because you might damage this. So what I did the second time, since I wanted to take some parts off, I took this wall bolt. It's a wall plug, some call it. Then I made sure it's like slightly larger than the R-hop. Then I put the R-hop in with some sandpaper glued to it. As you can see, the full R-hop doesn't work, but if you put the R-hop just in here, it stays. I align it so that it's perfectly in the middle, and then I take sandpaper glued to a nail. It's a wall nail, and I start sanding it down this way. I had to use a sandpaper that is 350. It worked anyway, but make sure you have 400 as a minimum, okay? And I would actually advise you to do what Meki did. Just spray some silicone oil on it and then start sanding it that way, because it gets really smooth. It takes you a longer time, but it never gets dusty on the surface. It stays really smooth. Then you'll see that when you have no hop installed and you're firing, you're getting no hop. That's good. And then when you start dialing the hop in, the BBs will start hopping. But what I got to a point where I couldn't dial the exact amount of hop up, and that was because, and this is a very vital part, this was because my hop up knob is a metal, as you can see, square, from the VSR conversion made by King Arms, because I have this VSR barrel conversion for the Tanaka. This is too hard. It's pure metal, sharp edges, it's gonna ruin everything. So what did I do to fix this and get an incredibly constant hop-up? I took this kind of rubber. It's pretty stiff, but it's still bendable in some way. I'm pushing it down with all my strength too, and you can see it bends, but it requires me to use both hands to bend it halfway, okay? What I've done is I took a X-Acto knife and, let's see if I can get it, I made a knob out of this rubber that looked exactly, I've lost my original knob, where did I put it? Okay, probably went somewhere. I have no use for it, so it's not, okay, it's back in here. And I made something, the one that I have is a little taller, but something that resembled the original knob. I took the original off, I put this rubber in, so you see I still have plenty to use, and I thought I would need a shorter knob, but since this bends pretty easily, it's not very rigid, you probably want to start with the same height of the original knob. This was vital. As soon as I put this in and started dialing hop-up, I still had no hop-up when no hop-up was dialed from the screw, but then when I put it in and started dialing, I got to a point where every single click creates like a half of a mil at 4 times magnification for every twist at like 270 feet. So it's gonna be incredible. I can actually almost dial some sort of elevation inside like a 2 mil range at 4 times just by dialing hop-up settings, and this is pretty crazy. If you think about all the variables that are involved, getting these kind of constants is incredible. So you retest if you get this kind of quality, which is approximately, you should be able to hit 100% of the time a 2 by 2 feet target at around 250 270 feet. If you're not getting this kind of accuracy, there's probably something more you can do. This is probably what you would expect from a bolt action, even more probably from a bolt action rifle, gas powered HPA rig, dual regulated stuff and everything. So if you further want to secure these settings, you just reopen everything, glue the R-hop to the outside, the very outside of the barrel, don't get any glue inside, and you're all set. So we won't have any test shooting right now, but I wanted to cover all the information that I've gathered in my first installation. As you know, I've done the Italian localization for Hunter Seeker. It's kind of the official translation, so I'm getting all pumped up by this, but it's not because of the jive or hype around the R-hop. It really works. I didn't have a hop-up capable platform until I installed the R-hop. All the other upgrades, inner barrel, HPA rig, whatever you want, was getting screwed the same time I was dialing the hop-up. So this is why, in my experience, the hop-up is gonna be the most critical piece in your setup, and you have to be very careful. It's really worth the time. I hope this video was useful to you. If it was, subscribe or like it, do whatever you want. Just don't do anything, but make sure you don't buy these and then screw them up. Give them the time they deserve for a correct installation, because once it's done, it's done. You don't have to take care of it probably ever again. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye bye.